It is Adam Fugitt, who is a few days removed from his first UFC win. So I guess, Adam, I mean, you've had a couple days to kind of process everything, I imagine, go back and watch it a little bit. So how are you feeling about everything right now?
I've come down a little bit, but I'm still up there riding the wave. Riding up there on cloud nine a little bit, but it's starting to come down. I just got back home yesterday, so reality's sinking in that the moment of truth is over and it's time to get back to work.
That's funny. That's so wild, right? I mean, it's a cliche, right? But it's the highest of highs and obviously the lowest of lows on the flip side. But it is kind of weird. Then you just come back home and you're like, I've got laundry to do and I got to take the trash out and I got to just keep going back to normal life.
Dude, post fight depression is a real thing. I challenge any fighter to tell me different. Like we put that mark on the calendar, and we live for that moment, and then it passes, and you're just like, whoa, what do I do next? At least for me, I don't give myself any room to think about prior or after the date. So now that I'm here, I'm like, well, what do I do with myself now?
Such a challenge. So, all right, so talk to me about the journey, right? I mean, obviously, your UFC debut, you'd worked for years to get there. You fight an absolute stud. It's not exactly an ideal scenario for a debut, and you come up short. So talk to me about that. I mean, was that difficult to move past it all? Like, I mean, you worked so long to get there, you come up short. I just always wonder what that moment is like. Like, this was supposed to be the Cinderella story, and it didn't work out the way it was supposed to work out. What's the feel?
Oh man, I'm so past the Cinderella story, right? Like, um, that's why like that's why I think that it's good for every fighter to experience that defeat some point in their life. I got a lot of them in wrestling and in high school and college, so I kind of know already. Do you really know everything about yourself if you haven't experienced defeat? So I got that in high school as well. But then when I went pro and I'm climbing, we all want to believe we're climbing the ladder to the UFC, and you experience your first losses. What does that do to your psyche? What does that do to your mental? And so I've been over the Cinderella story for a long time. I'm the guy you're gonna have to knock down, 100 times because he's gonna get up, 99% of the time, and I keep clawing my way back up, man. This is just a grind for me. So the Morales fight, taking on 9 days notice, they called me. I kind of was informed that they were throwing my name around and everything. So I don't ever not stop training. This is as much a mental and physical health for me as anything. When I don't train, I start getting, a little depressed, a little inside my own head and stuff. It's really an outlet for more than anything. So I got the call. I was like, great, how much time we got? And they said 9 days notice. And, you know, it's not ideal, but at the same time in my heart, I knew I wasn't turning it away, and I didn't care whose name it was. It being Michael Morales didn't deter me. And, we didn't get the W, but, I can't say that I was, wasn't upset. Everybody wants to win. I was definitely harping on myself in the back, but again, maturity set in, and it's just this was hey, I took this one. I got my opportunity to showcase what I have, which I'm not. Before that, I didn't ever thought I'd get to that point. I always thought I would just be on the regional scene. I had come to terms with that almost, and so to get that call was amazing.
That's pretty wild. So what kept you going when you were on the regional scene? Because I know, like, even for me, like the Solomon Renfro fight, like I had seen Solomon fight before. I knew that he was a stud prospect. And when you got that win, that opened my eyes to you. I was like, oh, maybe this is somebody. So what was driving you at that point that you're like, well, I'm just going to do this on the regional stage and I'm cool with that?
So back in 2000, what was it, 18, right before the pandemic, it was 2019. I was saying, 2020 is going to be my year. I was literally the meme, I was the meme. 2020 was going to be my year. In 2019, I had was my last fight before the pandemic. And, I went out there and overcame some adversity, that I had going on in my life at that point, and got the W. And I said, you know what? This is it. If I don't end up making it this year, then, it's probably time to move into coaching or something. And then the pandemic happened, and I'm just like, well, coaching's not here either, so I'm just gonna keep training, And we tried for when everything started to open up, we tried to get fights and stuff. It was like a whole year of basically fights falling through, and then the Solomon Renfro fight came up, and it was for LFA. LFA is another great promotion. I kind of love I love their business plan, right? They're like, we're not going to even worry about trying to be, the UFC or Bellator, but we're going to help these fighters get into those promotions. We're going to be the feeder program. And I really respect them for that. That's an amazing thing. And so when I saw that, when I got that opportunity, me and my coach just watched the tape. We're like, this is it. This is our opportunity. If it's meant to be, it's going to be off of this one. And, so I it's not a joke, but I guess I joke as like, every fight could potentially be my last fight. You never know, Mother Time comes for us all. And I don't want to be the guy on the regional scene. I've done that for years. I've had fun with that. Right now, I want to be a UFC fighter. I want to be an entertainer. I want to be a prize fighter. That's what I want. And, if I can't live that dream, then it's time to move forward. And so, yeah, that's why the joke is, any fight could be my last. If the UFC called me up and said, hey, it was a good fight, but we're going to let you go, that might be it. I don't know. I'm not going to go back to the regional scene.
Yeah, no, but that's a healthy mindset to understand where you are. That's probably driving you to do what you do. So, so we talked about Morales. Then you come in here. They give you this 22-year-old kid that everybody's high on. You're a big underdog. Everybody's saying Kinoshita's the next thing from over there. I guess, what was your feel going in there? I mean, was the confidence still there? Or were you like, why am I getting these young kids? Like, am I not supposed to be here? Like, what was the thought?
Oh, no, man. I mean, it's the UFC. Every fighter's going to be good, man. Everybody's dangerous. You're going up against the best in the world, and when you get to this level, if that's not what you want to fight, then you don't want to be a fighter, that's just it. Everybody's going to be tough. You're not going to get any easy fights. So I didn't anticipate anything less. I kind of, I know what I am, I'm essentially kind of the gatekeeper to the UFC. I'm bringing these contenders in, and, you could get upset about it, or you can just accept it and say, I still have a job at the end of the day. I'm essentially a hired mercenary, like, let's put me to work. Let's go, So, and then, for them to be saying, giving him titles, oh, he's the Japanese McGregor, or all this other stuff that I had been hearing the whole time. And it's just like, well, did we not learn from the McGregor thing? Like, he had a wild ride, he ballooned up. But he was also he got so big so fast. He's also he's a bit of an incomplete fighter as well. His ground game isn't good, and I don't know why so many people choose to stand with him. I mean, it is a fight, so everything starts on the feet. So you gotta deal with that in the beginning. But I just looked at him as Kinoshita he's the future. He's the future of the sport. He still has that capability even after our fight. He's gonna be the future. And I just saw kind of an incomplete fighter, and I knew that if I went in there and did did what I do best, which is just be that melting pot of a mixed martial artist, my stand up to my fence wrestling and my ground game, if I was just able to kind of put him in an uncomfortable situation, I was more than confident that I could come out with the W. And then I just really had that chip on my shoulder to, I got to the UFC, but I didn't win. So I'm not toting around, oh yeah, I'm a UFC fighter. That's over here. I'm not a UFC fighter. I wasn't toting that around because I hadn't accomplished it yet. You got to get the W before you get to represent the letters. That's at least my opinion. And just having that chip on my shoulder, and then wanting to show everybody. I had seen it on Twitter. It was something like hashtag Fight Camp Fugitt. I wanted to show him, yeah, that guy's a different animal. That guy's, I heard some stuff about, oh, his cardio. His cardio failed him in the fight against Morales, and hey, that's funny to me because I've never had any troubles with my gas tank ever. So yeah, if that's what you took away from that fight, then hey, you try doing it on 9 days' notice.
I love it. So you talk about making him uncomfortable. You definitely put him in an uncomfortable position as you were raining elbows down into his head. But a great victory. But I think what I almost found most interesting was your reaction, right? Like, I think about this. Like, it's your journey. It doesn't go right the first time. You're the underdog here. You get it done. But then you just get up and it's kind of like, a little dust out the shoulder right here. That's what I'm supposed to do. I don't know. Do you remember what was going through your mind? Because I assumed you'd like lose it a little bit. Like, yes, finally I got it done. Instead, you're just like, yeah, that's what I do.
I don't know. I don't really remember, but what was going through my head really. But just going back to prior sports and my coaches growing up, I was always just told, even from my folks, act like you've been there, and so yeah, I'm not surprised by any of this. I am a true believer in my preparation, in the gym, and the fight is in the gym, and going through the process to get to the fight. As long as I go through that and make it out of there alive, the reward for me is getting in there. And so, yeah, I'm not, when I got the W out, it was no surprise to me, and that's not trying to come off cocky. I'm just, that's just, I don't know. I don't like the big celebrations and like you were caught off guard by the W. No, I trained every day for, 6 days a week for 3 months. I pretty much, I don't know, lived the results in my head day in and day out, to the point where you get so sick of it. It almost becomes so toxic. You're living the ending to the fight over and over in your head. And there was a bunch of endings in that one. I had done a lot of interviews and stuff, and I said I definitely wanted the knockout, and I was going for it. And then I started like getting this other vision in my head that started coming out a little more clear. The picture was fuzzy with the KO. I'm like, this is weird. This other picture's coming through, and it's almost an HD, and it was, me mounted on top, finishing with strikes, so that was definitely the clearest, vision I had kind of going into that one, and that's what ended up playing out.
That's awesome, man. It was definitely a statement from you. So I guess, like you said, you got to process it. The high is there. Now you're back to reality. I guess what is the next move? I mean, is it important to you to get another date on that calendar right away? Do you need some time to shore up some things in the personal life? I don't know. What's the next move?
Again, man, I feel like I'm just a mercenary for hire. I'm ready to go. My coach I could feel him wanting to elbow check me from the out in the where the reporters were at, when I was like, yeah, I'm not. I mean, we all know I'm not, against taking a short notice fight. He's like, stop that, don't you? Come on, man. Look, we were talking about it after the fight. Realistic expectations. I'm trying to, I try to be a realist, even though sometimes that comes out more pessimistic than anything. I could go and tell you I'm going to be the UFC champ, and that's what I want to be, and that, yeah, sure, that's a huge long-term dream goal. Is it achievable? I don't think it's not, but it's a huge goal. Realistically, I kind of want to go after that title that Kevin Holland got was it a year or so ago, where he was the Iron Man. He was the workhorse. He got something like 6 or 8 fights in a year. Let's go. I got here late. Sign me up. Let's get another date on the calendar at least. I want to get back in there, and because like we said, you get in there, you put the date on the calendar, and you get to the date, and you go through that high, and now we're here on the backside and slowly coming down from it, and I just want to live in that moment as much as I can this year. So yeah, I'm going to get with my management probably today and see what they kind of are thinking and what we got lined up.
I love it. I love it. A very mature approach to your career, man. So I guess we'll probably be seeing you sooner rather than later, from what I'm hearing right there. But I just want to say congratulations on the first UFC win. I know that's a milestone in the career, and it was an impressive one, to say the least. And we'll definitely be paying attention to what comes next, which I imagine is going to come pretty soon.
Thank you so much.